it has been a minute. I am going to be sharing some of my cooking videos that I already had recorded. My phone was out of commission for quite some time and I finally got it back. Woohoo! So I can share some of those. So the first one that I'm sharing is my making pizza from scratch. So I had cut up all of the tomatoes so I can make a sauce. I had used raw milk that I found nearby to make mozzarella cheese, and I had made the dough from scratch in my bread maker. So I hope that you enjoy, and I hope that you are inspired to make something from scratch. It is so fun. It definitely takes a lot more time, but it is so delicious when you do eat it. It tastes so much better than what you would find at the store. And there are many times that I feed my children store-bought macaroni and cheese and don't feel a bit of remorse about it. But I love to try to do this every once in a while to bring some fun to our meal and just to bring some home style flavors. So I hope you enjoy. Well, hello again, friends. Here I have my little friend on my back helping me get my things ready. I always have to wipe off this stove because the stove top is also part of my countertop here, but I always have to wipe it off over here because it's not often used. And so, I don't know, little crumbs get on there and dust and all of the things that can get on there. Dog hair, I mean, because we have the dog crate in this kitchen as well. Just because of the layout of our house and the fact that this kitchen I really only use to prepare things. I always have to kind of get it taken care of ahead of time. And I noticed when I got that big pot out that I haven't used in a while as well, that it needed to be rinsed out. So how did these things happen? I don't know. But anyway, probably children. So I am just washing it out. In this kitchen, unfortunately, we still have not fixed the sink because, like I said, it's not used very often. And we have a lot of projects at this house, so we have to take it one at a time. That one definitely needs to be close to next on the list. I may have to just watch a YouTube about plumbing and get it done myself. But it makes it a little trickier when you're rinsing something out because you can't dump it down. I was comfortable doing this pot because it is so big. It is my big stock pot. So I knew I would be able to catch all of the water, even any that splashed. So anyway, I was setting that up because I figured my sauce was going to take me the longest. So I'd start with that. After I do that, I set up the dough in the bread maker. Now, this is a bread maker that I had found at Aldi's. Our stand mixer that we were using just all of the sudden broke. And I know they're very, very good stand mixers. I had a KitchenAid stand mixer, but it was a pretty old one, and it did not last the test of time, unfortunately. So I got the bread maker to hopefully help me with dough. So I started the dough in the bread maker and bread as well, which we've done it a couple of times. I need to be better about setting it up the night before, and then we have nice fresh bread in the morning. But it is very helpful for mixing the dough because when you don't have a stand mixer, mixing the dough is a little bit tricky. I do use a hand mixer, but that is more for like whipping eggs or things that are not as thick and sturdy as bread dough or pizza dough. So I was putting all of my tomatoes and my garlic. I have done garlic that way since watching Rachel Ray. I used to love watching the Rachel Ray show during my oldest boy's naps. So that was almost 12, 13 years ago, and it was on the regular channel, the channels that came through. You have like 4 or 5 that you don't have to pay for. And that was one of them because we did not have cable. But I would watch the Rachel Ray show because it was on the perfect timing during their nap. So I remember watching it, and that was one of the things that she recommended to do with the garlic was to use a grater and grate the garlic into whatever dish you were making. She also grated nutmeg. I never really got into that, but I do like to grate my garlic, and that is what I was doing here. And I have friends that hop in and hop out. I do typically prepare in this kitchen just because it's off of the main side of the house so much that I don't get as many visitors, but they always know where to find me, and they are fascinated by the video. So that's what they were doing. They were checking it out and talking to it while I was trying to finish up with the sauce, and then I sent them outside. We just got a play set probably 2 months ago, and they still are really loving it. It's a lot of fun, and it has a ramp instead of stairs up to it so that Asher can also access it, which is fantastic, and they really have a good time on it. So I was sending them out to that and trying to finish my garlic here. I really wanted to can the tomato sauce, but I had in the past used butter in tomato sauce and thought it was just the most fantastic thing. It really melds well with the flavors. And so I really wanted to use butter. And since there is no proven or FDA approved way of canning something with butter, I decided just to freeze it. I wonder if you want to share a tomato sauce recipe below, please drop it in the comments below because I love the fresh tomato sauce and I would love to have it canned. It just makes it so much easier. When you have something frozen, having to melt it makes it take a little bit longer. So I would love to have something that I can just dump out of a jar and use in my dishes, but I just have not found the sauce recipe yet that I love that can be canned. So again, if you have one, please share. Okay, so this is the first time I'm making cheese. Woohoo! We're using raw milk that I showed getting from my dealer. It's right here in the refrigerator. A gallon for $3.50, which here for whole milk is really fantastic. We do have a lot of dairy farmers and things like that. This is from an Amish family, and I found out about it from my friend. Sorry, Missy Moose is not happy about being strapped to my back, but she has learned to pull up on her crib. So she is doing that whenever she goes to nap. So it takes a lot longer for her to get to nap. So we're gonna try to pre-nap here and try to get her to sleep. So I've got tomatoes going in the stock pot. I'm going to make some mozzarella cheese using a recipe, and let me see where I found it. I got it offline, and this is from Cheese Making and Raw Milk. Make mozzarella at home. And the mozzarella method comes from the New England Cheese Making Company. Sounds legit to me. We'll see. It says that it will last for a week in the refrigerator, but we are making it on pizza. Oh, as you can hear, the bread maker is going with our dough. That's the first time I've used that. I usually would make dough in my KitchenAid mixer, but my KitchenAid mixer bit the dust right before we left, right before we moved from our old house. And it's expensive, so it's not getting replaced, but I found this bread maker at Aldi's for $50. Woo! So I picked it up and am excited to get some use in. My goal is to make Fridays be pizza day and have it be pizza from scratch. So this is 25 pounds of Seconds tomatoes. I had taken care of all of the prep work last Saturday. I know, which wasn't unfortunately as long as I wanted, but I had 2 kids that had to run to different places. So anyway, we're gonna make the mozzarella. And the very first thing it says to do is to dissolve 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid in 1/2 cup of water. I'm sorry, we're definitely living farm life here. So one day I'm gonna have my life together. Today is not the day, and tomorrow's not looking great either. I forgot my cup of water in the other room. So 1/2 cup of water, and what does it say? 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid. So I got a big thing of citric acid because I am trying to do some more canning. For the sauce, I am just going to freeze that because I put butter and garlic in it, and I am a little nervous about not having a recipe to follow exactly for canning because of botulism and all of that. So I know there are some people that don't worry as much about that because they've been canning all their lives, but I am learning and I don't want to kill my family. Accidentally, of course. I don't want to have an issue go on with botulism. So I'm deciding not to do that. So we'll freeze them and they'll work just as well in the freezer. And maybe at some point I will learn, but right now is not the day. All right, it looks like I just grabbed the 1/2 teaspoon, so we'll just do 3 of those. As I would tell my kids, let's add it up and you can figure it out. That 3 of the 1/2 teaspoons is 1.5 teaspoons. So we've got that. And I'm realizing I don't have anything to mix it with. I'm hoping we've got something over here. This is where it's like, I don't know what's in what side. It's a fun way to live. I may just use this to mix it because I have my handy dandy kitchen towel with me. And I can dry it off if I need to use it again. Okay, so I'm dissolving 1.5 teaspoons of citric acid in 1/2 cup of cold water. Then I've got my gallon of milk and I need a pan. So we're gonna pause and then, hey, got the pan. The 2 kitchens is great and frustrating all at the same time. Okay, so it says to pour your gallon of milk into this pot. And this is raw milk that I got from an Amish family. I have a friend at Co-op who, when I told her where I lived, she said, oh, that's close to where I get my raw milk. Sorry, it is making some sounds. So anyway, I have seen quite a bit about raw milk and how it's helpful for allergies and things like that. Now we have a couple of little people with terrible allergies. So I thought, well, we'll try it. And I know you can make lots of things with it. So I thought, well, we want to try some cheese. We'll get some raw milk and work at it. Okay. So it says heat the milk to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, stirring almost constantly. This is where I have trouble. I go somewhere between low and medium for heat. Okay, do I need to add the citric acid? It doesn't look like. Oh, thoroughly stir in the citric acid and water. And I'm gonna have to pause again because I don't have anything to start it with. Oh, okay. It has been some time. And I forgot the stirring utensil. Well, at least it smells good. Hopefully it's worth all this. Anyway, I got my stirring utensil. I have my, this is my cheese making box that I had in my thing. So I can use this. Hopefully it works. This is the first time I'll be using a digital thermometer. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. I don't know. Oh, good. Okay, it's turning on. So I'm going to see how this works today because it seems like it's pretty specific about what it can have. All right, so we have our citric acid. We're going to pour that into the milk and mix thoroughly. We're heating the milk to 90 degrees, which it would help to turn on the thing. And they said in between medium and low. Heat the milk to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, stirring almost constantly. I go somewhere between low and medium for heat. So here we are. We will see. I'm going to move this out of the way. Probably put our citric acid in there. It's not one thing, it's another. I've got an hour left on my dough machine. Woohoo! I've got my stuff ready to go back to the other side. Although I think this is going to be where I do most of my stovetop cooking that requires a large pot, because our other side has a microwave on top of the stove. It was not well thought out. It works for if you're cooking for 2 people, but when you're cooking for 11 and you need big pots, it does not work. What do you need, babe? Okay. Distractions. All right, so I'm stirring. I know I have read that mozzarella, you shouldn't stir it too fast. I also am missing my little friend on my back. She fell asleep. The pre-nap worked and she's napping in her room right now. So we're gonna take... I apologize for the background noise. I don't even notice it anymore. They were all safe. They were all healthy. Mike, I believe, was home at this time. But anyway, they were okay. All of the kids, they were just, we have some very loud children. And I know children in general are loud, but I have some that just do not know how to use their inside voice. So that's what was happening here, and I'm trying to just talk, and I don't even really actually realize it because I don't think I address it at all here. So sometimes I do tune out the excessive noises, and again, nobody was hurt, everybody was okay. Or it would be taken care of before now, but I don't. So I have to go over and get that water in a minute. I don't particularly want to leave it sitting too long, especially if it's not supposed to be not stirred. That makes sense. The double negative makes sense. And this is extremely full. I'm hoping that it'll work as full as it is, because this is my biggest pot. So this one is kind of little, and it holds about a gallon, but just about a gallon. So I'm a little concerned about adding any more. And you can hear we have some friends chatting. All right, so I've got my rennet. Sorry, chewing. I have the dried mangoes are our favorite. And so I'm finishing up a little bit of those. Okay, so 1/4 teaspoon. And that's 3/4. And this is 1/4. All right. Oh, I don't know if you need to cut off the top. It looks as if you do. I don't know how you reseal it. I'm going to take a minute. Coagulates milk, store in the refrigerator. Follow recipe and adjust as needed. Dilute 20 times. Veal rennet, sodium chloride. Okay. So it doesn't really tell you. This is from the New England Cheesemaking Company. So isn't that interesting? It comes from the company that made this recipe. That was not on purpose. All right. I think I have a pair of scissors here. Praise the Lord. So I don't have to move back, but we have, it's just kind of a wonky house, but yep, I do. Hallelujah. The drawers, the one cabinet top is off. So the drawers are very difficult to undo. All right, so I'm gonna put 1/4 teaspoon of rennet into the water. These tomatoes are making me nervous because they're making that boiling sound. And I keep thinking it's the milk because I know I'm supposed to be stirring the milk, and here I am dealing with rennet. So, all right, I'm hoping I can keep this because it was a pretty penny on Amazon, and I don't really want to lose that. It's only a little bit to make cheese. There's still quite a bit left. So I'm wondering if you have used this before and have a way to keep it, please leave a comment below. because I would love to know how to store it well so I can continue to use it. So yes, we've got that there then. I might test it. I don't think it's at 90, but I'm gonna check. I'm kind of excited to use my thermometer. So let's see if the outside air is 70 and this is 56. I guess you go down to the bottom because it was kept in a cooler. They are Amish, but they had a cooler out with ice and they keep their milk in that. So it was cold before it was put in the pot. So here I'm just chatting with the kids about the bread maker. They can hear it making its little sounds. They wanted to see in, so they went and got themselves a stool so they could look in it. However, it was all fogged up, so they didn't even really get to see it, but they were excited about the whole process. So I was just chatting with them about many different things. They come in often to get apples. I keep extra produce in that refrigerator, and so they were getting that at the beginning of the month. We have loads of it. At the end of the month, it's only in the refrigerator on our main side. So and this month, thankfully, we're in October right now. I was doing this in July or August, but anyway, this month we've had lots of bushels of apples in our area. We have a lot of farm stands that sell them. I go to a kind of combination supermarket farm stand that sells meat and also sells a lot of apples for a very good price. So we were happy to get them and have been happy to eat them. All of the kids love apples, and they're a nice, easy fruit to give them when they're hungry. Don't you just hate when the cord won't reach? I learned of a different outlet at this time, and I also checked out how the stove was connected to the wall because we've been thinking about moving that as well once we kind of remodel this room into more of a laundry room. The laundry is on the other side in the boys' bathroom. Anyway, this was the first time I used that immersion blender as well, and it worked pretty well. I have been looking for ways to make making sauce easier. I love homemade fresh sauce. We have loads of places here that have tomatoes so cheaply at the end of the season, and so I want to be able to use them and have them through the winter. So I'm trying each time that I do make sauce, I try something to make it a little bit easier the next time because it is a process, but it's one I don't want to necessarily do all of the steps for all of the time. So if I can cut some steps out, I am a happy lady. And it worked well. It was a very smooth sauce after that, and I let it boil down just a little bit more as I worked on the cheese. And I was still very concerned about our cheese and our milk. I did not want to scald the milk. And I may have taken it off, and this you'll see a little bit later, may have taken it off the heat too soon after enthusiastically using my temperature, my thermometer. I may have taken it off too soon because it took a little bit longer to make the curds. right, so I've been working. We'll see how it goes. I've had lots of helpers, as you probably could see. It at this point is at 68 degrees. I was able to use my new immersion blender. Woo woo. We've had a Ninja cup blender for a long time, but it doesn't let you blend hot liquids. So a friend of mine had told me about the trick of just blending your sauce when you make it with the tomatoes. And so I knew I wanted to blend it, but I knew my blender would not be able to handle the hot liquid. So I decided to go ahead and get an immersion blender, and that seemed to do the trick. I just looked, I think there's like one chunk of tomatoes left, but if I absolutely need to, I might be able to just get it out, cool it down, and get it into my Ninja. So we'll see how long. I turn the heat up a little bit on the milk to see if it can make cheese, and then we'll see what happens next. Here is where my overeagerness steps in, and I'm like, it's finally at 90. I probably, like I said, took it off the heat a little too soon, as I find out right now. Unless things get done. Okay. It doesn't seem to work. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely not cutting. I don't know what to do here. Let me look on what it says here. This quick version of material. Cover the pot and let it sit for 5 minutes. And look and check the curd. It should be thick. It's not. I don't know what to do. It's been about a minute. I can give it another minute, I guess, and just keep waiting minutes?
Mom,
I don't know.
can I put on
Okay.
this swimsuit?
Not right now.
But Abby is.
Okay,
Can I?
sure.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening there. I really hope I can use it. We'll see, because I don't want to waste. But it does not look like it's forming up. There's like a little bit forming, but it's still mostly milk. I'm not sure why. I don't know. Oh, I see. I'm looking outside. I've got kids running wild here. Hey. I'm not sure. Thankfully, we have the dough, so that's good. I'm gonna plop that into a bowl here in a minute. Sorry, I'm eating hummus at the same time. I'm guessing this is okay. So the next thing it says to do is to heat it back up. So I'm gonna go ahead. All right, we're gonna put it on the heat. Right there. I always have to make sure I get it right, especially on these ones where it doesn't show up right away. Okay, this is shaping. After 5 minutes, so this in total probably took about 20 minutes to set up. We'll see if it actually set up the right way. This is my first time, so I'm not 100% sure even then. So I'm gonna grab my spoon. When the curd is set, so I sliced it. Gently stir the curd and heat it up to 105 degrees. It doesn't say anything about like what temperature it should be on. Feels wrong to stir this. They're kind of like soft, but I don't know. This is not something that's in my wheelhouse here. I'm learning for the first time. I'm hoping it turns out. And I've also read that if it doesn't, you can always make it into ricotta. So ricotta works on pizza. Our sauce is looking fantastic and smelling great. I'm probably going to start another thing of the dough, which I have on one of my sheets here. I think I'm gonna make a little binder spot because I have a binder for our recipes for pizza, like everything I need for pizza. All right, so I'm gonna get a cup of warm water. That has to be done in the other space because this water can't run. So I will be back. So I didn't get me forming the cheese like I thought that I did. That was pretty fun. It's like playing with Play-Doh, and it did come together. I was amazed. It was a little bit rubbery, so it was not perfect mozzarella, but I was excited that it worked, and we had cheese to put on our pizza, which I'll show at the end, and it was delicious. So I definitely will try it again. I think I was amazed at how small the cheese was for how much milk was used. It was very small. I actually had to add some of our other cheese when making the two pizzas because there wasn't even enough for two.